evening, everyone. I would like to call regular meeting of the Cumberland Fire District, January 24th, 2007, to order, and I would like to start with a roll call. Commissioner?
Jones, here. Santoro, present.
Shambo, present.
Kelly Morris, counsel.
Cynthia Willett, present.
Hogan, present.
Ronald Champagne, present. Jim Scotland, present.
Thank you. We have a full meeting today. If we could all stand for a moment of silence. We don't normally ask people to, I don't normally do a directed moment of silence, but because tonight is such a special evening, as we think about during a moment of silence, if we could remember how fortunate we are to have three men coming forward as new firefighters for Cumberland Fire Department, and we wish them a safe journey through their career as firefighters. And also how thankful we are with our fire and police department, as we will see in the award ceremony this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I state your name.
I, William Sullivan,
Do solemnly swear that I will be true and faithful to the state of Rhode Island and the United States of America, and support the laws and Constitution thereof, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of probationary firefighter with the Cumberland Fire Department until I am legally discharged therefrom. Congratulations.
At this time, I will introduce the three new recruits for the Cumberland Fire Department based on alphabetical order. Jacob Ravello was born and raised in North Attleboro and is the son of Dana and Kathy Ravello, and he is the older brother of Joshua. Jacob attended and graduated from North Attleboro High School in 2014 and continued his education at Bristol Community College, graduating from Bristol Community College in 2016 with an associate's degree in fire science, as well as accomplishing a scuba diving certificate, which we will take advantage of. Initially pinning his badge this evening is his father, Dana Ravello. If you would please join me at the podium. Our next candidate is Michael Soucy. Michael was born and raised in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and is the son of Jerry and Jane Soucy. Michael attended and graduated from Cumberland High School in 2013, and he enrolled in the College of Business at the University of Rhode Island. He's currently on the Dean's List in that program and has been a resident firefighter since 2013 at the Kingston Fire Department while attending URI. Some of Michael's accomplishments are he's obtained his emergency medical technician cardiac license. He's recognized as an NFPA firefighter 1 and 2 with hazmat operations, and the National Incident Management System ICS 05A, certificates 100, 200, 700, and 800. Pinning his badge this evening, if they could join me at the podium, are his parents, Jane and Jerry Soucy. Our next candidate is William Sullivan, the old man of the group, coming from one that's older. William is 33 years old, and he resides in Lincoln, Rhode Island. He was originally from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. He is the son of Raymond and Patricia, and he has one sister, Erin. He is a 2002 graduate of St. Raphael Academy. Immediately following graduation, he started as a volunteer and part-time firefighter at the Salesville Fire Department in Lincoln. And in 2007, he was appointed to the Lincoln Rescue, where he served for 9 years before his appointment to the Fire Department in Cumberland. He has attained many certifications, a few which I will reveal this evening. NFPA 1001, Firefighter Levels 1 and 2, NFPA 1002, Driver, Operator, Pumper, and Aerial, which means that he's never going to have an accident. NFPA 1041, Fire Instructor, NFPA 1521, Incident Safety Officer, and National Incident Management System ICS certificates 100, 200, 700, and is a Rhode Island Emergency Medical Technician Cardiac. This evening, his badge will be pinned by his girlfriend Jenna and daughter Caitlin. If they could join me at the podium. A few members could just step aside in front of the main podium here. The other life-saving award recipients, please fall in. At this time, I would like to ask Mayor Murray to say a few words to the attendees.
Thank you, Chief, and good evening to everyone that's here tonight. This is an honor. Last night we did some pinning of some badges to the rescue, and we had some fire people here, and I said that it's always an honor for me to go, no matter where it is, to talk about the great safety service we have between the police, the fire department, and the rescue. we should be very proud, and we are very proud as a town. I was happy to hear the firefighter that just joined, that we stole him from Joe Armand. That's a real win. But the awards that are being given out today is just a testimony for the job that all three departments, safety departments, do for the town of Cumberland. And it's certainly, the town of Cumberland is very proud, so congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you.
So I'm going to read the incident report that I put together for this evening's awards. I want to thank also the Police Chief John Damaris, who's with us this evening, and Rescue Director Sean Thompson for their diligence in creating a working atmosphere that's harmonious for all departments to participate in. The incident occurred, and as you'll see it unfold, it involved all officers to a professional level for a successful outcome. While off duty and in attendance at a service at St. Patrick's Church on 31 October 2016, a female in the congregation began showing symptoms of a medical event. Lieutenant Brian Bonato and firefighter Dan Clow immediately began medical attention while asking Patrolman John Forrest, also in attendance, to radio for an EMS response. Rescue 2 arrived with Deputy Joe DeAngelis and paramedic Andrew Bonds and were apprised of the situation by Lieutenant Bonato, in which CPR was in place. Engine 1 arrived, staffed by Captain John Fogarty, firefighters Aaron Babikian and Joshua Gingras, and advanced life support measures were continued, with all 8 men working successfully until packaging and transport to a medical facility. The patient was conscious and talking to the first responders before she arrived at Miriam Hospital. The combined actions of the first responders that served the residents and visitors to the town of Cumberland have earned them the recognition of the Fire Department Life Safety Award. And also with that comes a commendation from the Rhode Island State Senate. I will read just one. All members are receiving a similar one addressed to them. State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, Senate citation. Be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island Senate hereby offers its sincerest congratulations in recognition for your continuing acts of heroism and bravery as you serve the citizens of your community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. Proposed this 24th day of January 2017, signed by the Senate President, Teresa Piva-Weed, Senate Majority Leader Dominic Ruggiero, and our local Senator Ryan Pearson. So, as I call your name, please take a step forward so that you can be recognized by the chairwoman for delivery of your award. Lieutenant Brian Bonato. Firefighter Daniel Clow. Patrol Officer John Forrest. Rescue Deputy Joseph DeAngelis. Paramedic Andrew Bonds. Captain John Fogarty. Firefighter Joshua Gingras. Firefighter Andrew Babikian. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for a job well done. You should be exemplary, proud of yourself for this occasion. Brian, you want to say a few words? Please give your attention to Senator Pearson for 1 minute.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor, for having us here in Town Hall. It's a great honor for me to be here today and help and bring the greetings of the state to recognize these first responders for all that they do. And listening to that story, I was thinking for a second, you're really never off duty, right? And as we think about all the time that they spend away from their families, working, often many shifts, not at home. I hear that often from, I won't mention a friend of mine's wife who's sitting in here who yells all the time. All the time they're on duty, they're off duty, they're still working, and they're working in our community, and they're also working around the state, answering calls to other communities when need be. And so we owe them our thanks every day, but particularly on days like this where we just have an outstanding story. And so congratulations to you on this award, and thank you so much for your service for these members and for all of our first responders. Thank you so much.
At this time, the Honor Guard will escort all members that have been honored this evening from the room.
Oops, sorry. At this time, I would also like to call for a 5-minute break so that folks can go and have pictures and join their loved ones. Thank you. Chief, well done on the ceremony. That was really nice.
No problem.
Thank you. All right.
All I do is read it. They did all the work.
Well, somebody had to write it.
Yeah.
All right, general announcements. I have none. Anyone? Oh, wait, I do have one. Just for the record, I thought that we had 2 great meetings in the last 2 Saturdays, the tour of the fire department and our roundtable discussion where we were able to set some goals for the next 2 years. So I thank all of you very much for your participation. I think that it was a really good thing for us to do. Consent agenda, approval of the 11/10/2016 minutes.
Chair, point of order.
Chairperson Scullin.
What is the, again, that meeting is in question. Now we're at the minutes again. How is that to be?
I can speak to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Solicitor.
So we did speak at length about the minutes from the November 10th meeting. I have consulted with a couple of other solicitors around the state because I was concerned that a majority of you would not be voting on these, but because it's just a procedural matter, whomever was at that meeting may vote on these minutes, and the majority will, basically approve or disapprove of those minutes. So what I would suggest is someone make a motion to either approve or disapprove of the minutes, or to make any amendments to the minutes, just as you would any other set of minutes, and you can proceed on that basis. So I believe there's 3 people that will be taking part. The rest of you will abstain.
Well, you need 4 for a quorum.
No, but again, you have a quorum, and so in terms of proceeding on approval of minutes, it's a procedural matter, so you can vote with 3 of you voting on the minutes, because it's just simply a procedural matter. So the majority of the 3 of you will either approve or disapprove of those minutes.
I make a motion to table the minutes then.
Is there a second?
You're not allowed.
No, this is on the November meeting minutes. You weren't here. You weren't here to do that.
I understand. I think what he's saying is that most people vote before the minutes to begin with. So my question for the solicitor is, I know I'm not involved to be allowed for the 3 of you who are. You can approve the minutes as just a documentation of what happened.
Right.
But if you don't approve of what happened within the minutes, you can still challenge each issue, correct?
So, as we discussed at the last meeting, the minutes are not an affirmation or any kind of acknowledgement of what happened at the meeting. It doesn't approve or disapprove of anything that happened at that meeting. If the board chooses to take up anything that happened at that meeting, it may do so. So this is simply a matter of approving or disapproving what happened at that meeting. So I hope that answers your question.
I'm still making a motion to approve.
There's still a motion on the table.
All right, so we have a motion to table that was not seconded. Now we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and then
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
against?
Nay.
Okay.
So the minutes are approved on a vote of 3-1 with,
2 to 1. 2 to 1.
I'm sorry, 2-1 with 1, 2, 3, 4 abstaining.
Again, I object to what went on here. This is wrong. These minutes should not be existing until it's settled. There's going to be a legal challenge to this. And, today's Providence Journal was right on target with the U.S. Attorney. Corruption. That's what happened on November 10th of 16 with this committee. That meeting was corrupt, the votes were corrupt, and the agenda was corrupt.
Okay, I mean...
That's your opinion, but I hope, for your sake, that you can prove corruption, because corruption is you're alleging that something illegal took place.
The vote was certified at 3:30 in the afternoon.
When that debate
The state law is very clear.
you're saying is corruption.
Nobody holds a meeting 2 days after the election that they're no longer involved with.
Point of order, please.
Commissioner Scullin?
Sorry.
So here's
Mr. Santori, you're not in charge of the meeting.
I'm not, but you're being inappropriate and yelling at the next to you. Sorry.
Mr. Commissioner. So here's a suggestion, and I understand what you're saying. I seconded voting just on the paper document, the minutes, and I understand that you're concerned about what transpired in the meeting. So my recommendation to you would be, let's put whatever piece that you need to discuss on next month's agenda, as opposed to a blanket the whole meeting. I think it was decided at last month's meeting that the meeting was legal, correct?
Well, in my opinion, the meeting was legal, and again, I don't want to belabor this, but there were 2 certifications of the election. One was by the town, which did in fact occur at 3:30 that afternoon, and a second one occurred about 2 weeks later by the State Board of Elections. It is simply not clear by the legislation, your charter, which one of those two apply. As your counsel, I am going to defend the fact that you all met on November 10th. I will defend that. I am your counsel. That's what I will do. You met, you participated, as well as anybody else that was a member at that time. I will not defend you. That's what I'm here for. So that's my position. I think it's, in my opinion, there is an interpretation, and I take the interpretation that it could have been either the certification of the town, which was 3:30 that afternoon, or it could have been the certification of the State Board of Elections. I'm taking the position on behalf of all of you and on behalf of the prior board that it was the second certification, and that is for your benefit. So that's my position.
Well, Counsel, I really think you have a conflict with that opinion.
Why?
Oh, I don't understand that. Why would she have a conflict? She wasn't even at the meeting.
Well, that's one of the conflicts. Why wasn't she at the meeting? She said she didn't even know about it.
I never said that. I never said that.
Well, that was in the Valley Breeze.
Well, the Valley Breeze knows everything, don't they?
Point of order.
Let me be very clear. I am here to defend this entire board. This board and the board that hired me the last time, and I'm going to do that. And my interpretation of the statute, which I think is very reasonable, is that the certification that applies is the State Board of Elections. That's the position I will take on behalf of this board. And I said going forward, if the bylaws, if you want to create bylaws that require that elections take place after the Town Board of Elections certifies the vote, then I think that's within your authority to do so. But in order for the meeting that occurred on November 10th to be valid, I am defending that, and I will continue to defend that, and that is my position as your counsel. I'm defending you on that.
My position is the state law says the election is run by the local board of canvassers, not the State Board of Elections.
That's fine.
Madam Chairwoman, can we take this up in the Personnel Subcommittee?
No. No, I think that, I think I would like to...
That's his issue, and that's the bottom line.
I think that, Jim, we can, Commissioner Scullin, sorry, pick out the pieces that concern you and let's put that on the agenda as opposed to just accepting the paper document. And we'll do that for next month's meeting.
That's not the issue is the entire meeting, which will be handled outside of this board because this board is not capable of handling this. This is a legal issue, and I will be first filing that challenge with the Cumberland Board of Canvassers to determine the state law and move it from there, on their determination, then move it to the state if necessary, then to the court, because what happened that night is wrong.
In your opinion?
But that's fine.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, from again, this board's standpoint, if Commissioner Scullin wants to file some kind of an action or an appeal with the Town Board of Canvassers, I encourage him to do so. I mean, there's really nothing else at this point that we can say about this. I think the chair made a very good point of putting anything on the next agenda that any member of this board had a problem with, so that it may be revoted on. I don't see any problem with that, and I think that would rectify any issue. I encourage you to do whatever you feel is necessary. I am not discouraging you from doing anything that you feel is legally appropriate.
Oh, I want it to be known that that meeting on the 10th was not in the interest of the taxpayers of Cumberland, and it was held for reasons that are unbelievable that it's still happening in this day and age.
Madam Chairman, I think that what the solicitor is saying, to put it on next month's agenda is just beating a dead horse. Commissioner Scullin has his own opinion, And now, if he doesn't want to accept the solicitor's opinion, who represents us, then he needs to go out and get himself counsel and take whatever legal action that he wants to make, along with his allegations, which are completely 100% wrong, of holding up a newspaper here saying that there's corruption. I take offense to that. That is not what's happened. We had a legal meeting. He doesn't like what happened in that meeting, then he needs to go get his own attorney, and he needs to battle the battle out of his own pocket, not our expense, and paying the solicitor, who's already rendered an opinion.
Well, the Attorney General, U.S. Attorney will take it on the case, so I'm not worried about that.
Jim, feel free to do it. Don't throw digs here and threats. Threats are cheap. Go file your
I'm
complaint.
going to do it. This is not going to go away.
Go file your complaint.
Okay.
End of story. Go file your complaint.
I am. You can just
Okay.
relax.
Okay.
So don't keep on threatening.
I'm not threatening. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
All right, let's move on.
I'm
So,
upfront about things like other people.
so, so if you want to put something on next month's agenda regarding what was voted, just let us know, and we'll take care of that. And then, if you are going, just go ahead. That's fine. Next item on the consent agenda, approval of the minutes from December 13th. Is there a motion? There's a motion. Seconded. Motion by Commissioner Santoro, second by Commissioner Champagne. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Votes in favor, 7-0. Moving on to new business, financial reports from November and December. Is there anything you would like to say? Ms. Carol Ocean?
I don't think so at this time, but I will take questions if anybody has any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Motion to accept by Commissioner Champagne, seconded by Commissioner Santoro.
That's on the November.
On the November, no, financial report.
On the December, I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, let's vote on November 1st. Let's vote on November 1st.
November 1st.
The November financial reports first.
I just want to
Sorry.
make sure it's not going to be in conflict with the same thing you had 10 minutes ago. What was the date of that first report?
November 2016.
Just the whole month in general? It wasn't like before we were the board, the 10th? Or after the board?
It
Does
would have
matter?
been up to and including November 30th.
And you're just accepting, I mean, you're not approving this because these are the reports. Right.
Okay. So these are the reports for November. The motion is on the table. All in favor of accepting, approving the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved, 7-0. Is there a motion again for December's finance reports?
Motion accept.
Commissioner Champagne, motion, and Commissioner Santoro, second. Any discussion or any questions? Hearing none, it goes to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. No, not nay. Opposed? No one. It's accepted 7-0. I'm a little rusty at this, just saying.
We didn't have we started having meetings on every Saturday.
There is a resolution on the table for the reappointment of Kelly Morris as General Counselor Solicitor. Whereas Kelly Morris has been the General Counsel Solicitor for the Cumberland Fire District since her original appointment on January 13th, 2015, and whereas the Cumberland Fire Department is satisfied with her services provided to date, and whereas the Cumberland Fire District is in need of legal services for this term of office, now therefore be it resolved by the Cumberland Fire District as follows. Resolved that Kelly Morris is hereby appointed as General Counsel Solicitor for the term ending November 2018, approved of this date, 24th day of January 2017.
Motion
Motion to accept by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second?
Are we accepting or are we appointing him? How's that?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Okay. I don't have a copy of it.
It's after,
It's on the
it's
back
directly
page,
after
just before the
the
chief.
final, it's on this side. There you go. So there is a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Champagne. Any discussion?
Chair, Madam Chair,
Commissioner Scullin.
just,
I'm going to recuse if there are questions on this because I don't want to look like I'm participating.
Yes, okay.
So I don't feel comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
just question as to, it doesn't really define duties or rate of payment or...
I can speak to that. Can I speak?
That is true. This is a resolution for the reappointment, so,
There's a, in the minutes I went through, back when Ms. Morris's position was originally created, Mr. Lemoy hired Ms. Morris. You raised the same exact question then, and it was a executive appointment. The hourly wage she gets is found later on. I think it's about $175 an hour, and her job description is not as extensive as you'd like to see, like for the chief, but it does say she does all of our legal representation up to and but not including collective bargaining agreements. That is in the minutes from, I think, April or March of 15. I read it last night. So she has, I mean, I think the bylaws committee has to make, with the committee did a lot in 2 years. Now it's time to put the fine printing together for job descriptions for everybody.
Commissioner Santoro, I'm just questioning it. It doesn't state in here what our rate of pay is. Has it changed from what it was before? That's all I'm...
No.
it has not changed.
I just would like to make a correction to that. It's 125 per hour.
125?
Yes.
Oh, what a bargain.
125 per hour.
That's a really good rate for an attorney.
Okay. There has been no mention of increasing that salary at this point in time.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay, yeah, that's
Do you want
fine.
us to add that? Should we add that to the resolution?
I'm going to make a motion to amend the resolution.
Motion to amend, is there a second?
Yeah, second, sure.
Motion to amend Resolution 53 to include Solicitor Morris's hourly rate. Roll call vote. Okay. Can I have a roll call? Commissioner Scullin?
Yes.
Commissioner Champagne?
Yes.
Commissioner Hogan?
Yes.
Commissioner Archibald? Commissioner Willett? Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Santoro?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
The motion to amend is voted 7-0.
Yeah, you get a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We approve. Kelly, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Approved 7-0. And we are happy to have you, and I thank you for the past year, and I look forward to working with you as chairperson this year.
Yes, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Chief's annual report is up next. Chief?
I broke this down in two sections. One section to coincide with the December 31st financial report. So the first report you'll see is a 6-month snapshot, July 1st, 16 to 12/31/16, of where we are at, showing 2,254 calls for service. And the next page has it broken down by specific calls for service. And the last page I did a 12-month so that you would have something to compare it to. I went January 1st, 16 to 12/31/16. And ironically, we're having about the same winter, so I foresee the numbers being fairly close. And we're just about at a 50% mark, just a little bit higher than a 50% mark from using a 12-month period. The basic percentages have stayed about the same, other than, it doesn't really show on here, but the amount of major building plans has diminished in the second 6 months of 16 as compared to the beginning of 16.
Why do you think that is?
We're running out of land to build on.
Okay. Any questions?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner?
Chief, just a quick question. I noticed on false alarm and false calls, quite a few. The January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2016, I think it looks 527. Is there a charge for these calls after a certain amount?
We don't have any charge in place. That's certainly something we could discuss. There are other communities that have implemented that on repetitive charges, repetitive calls to the same location. It is something that I would be open to because we do have some people that are probably taking advantage of the system. And by that, they're just looking for company when they're lonely.
Thank you.
If I could just make a comment. Today, the USFA, or US, I think it was USFA, released their national report, and it was the 2014 numbers. And it was essentially this, that we are in line with the nation in terms of numbers of calls in these particular areas. It was pretty amazing. So, and if anyone would like that report, just let me know and I'll be happy to send it to you. And it's only 8 pages.
Commissioner Jones, did you have a question?
Yes, Chief. Okay.
Commissioner Jones, yeah?
Good intent call? I just question what that is. Good intent call?
A good intent call, it encompasses numerous things. It can be someone that needs assistance getting from their vehicle into their home because they have a disability and they just cannot function on the steps, but it's not a long-term disability where they need to put a ramp in. It could be someone that's slipped and fallen and has no other caregiver to help them get up off the floor. They have the little lifeline buttons. Good intent calls also, that we've done good intent calls for chirping smoke detectors to try to alleviate those problems, along with water, flooded basements or broken water pipes causing flooding in the house. It kind of encompasses anything that isn't ignited.
Chief, on the false calls in the pie chart, that is grouping that 700 category of yours, 700 through 730, correct? So you have, I'm just looking at the last report, and it shows system malfunction. Within that malfunction, is it a malfunction one time, or is it a repeated malfunction going to one business constantly because they're not repairing the system? Are we keeping track of that?
Oh no, you only get one shot at a malfunction.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if it's a repeated malfunction, they could fix it. It's an old system, they keep on repairing the system.
No, you get one shot at a malfunction. It malfunctions once.
All right, so that was a one.
We have probably 95% of the businesses have authorized us to contact their fire alarm company if they're not on premise, and if it's a fault in the system, we will call the fire alarm company directly leave the system as it is so that they can diagnose it.
Okay.
But we have some older systems in the community, one in this very building, that's getting more and more difficult to get parts for, so it's causing a replacement of the whole system.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, because you have 730 is a system malfunction other, 43. So that means there was 43 businesses that had false alarm?
Or system malfunction.
For a system malfunction.
It doesn't necessarily mean a business, it could be a residential.
Could be a
alarm, too.
residential.
Yeah.
Then you have false alarm on 700. Is that a false alarm due by lightning, a storm?
No, a false alarm is an intentional, someone has activated a pull station or was smoking under a smoke detector, something that we can attribute to an alarm that was caused in error.
So the number that we're looking at that would probably be billable is what kind of number if you just had to take one report? Is it one a month, two a month? I mean, what I'm getting at is that all the work and the postage and the secretaries doing the work, where you're only going to get a couple of dollars back. I mean, I know we went through this with the police department when I was there with false alarms, trying to keep track of it and how many went out and then send people notices.
Well, I guess it's going to depend on what we initiate for a fine. If it's going to be $10, it won't be worth it. If it's going to be $100, it might be worth looking at. But I'll certainly have a more diligent number for you for the February meeting.
Yeah, and and what's the ramifications if they don't pay the fine? That's the other thing. Where do you get your power from?
Well, I'd have to look at that. I mean,
Okay. I'm just saying it's a more complex issue than just saying, well, it's always a means of income. Sometimes the means of income is not worth the effort.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at what other communities are doing, and I'd look at state law to see what is appropriate in terms of whether there's a lien available, or I don't know the answer. I'd have to look at it.
Okay.
But between the chief and I'm sure we can come back with something in February.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the chief?
I think we covered it quickly on the retreat. Are you having a lot of problems with those malfunctioning smoke detectors? Is that a big issue for you guys right now? The recall?
It's a real big issue, and we have it up on our website. We have it up on multiple websites, and I'm compiling a public service announcement to be out. In the last 3 weeks since we're notified about the smoke detectors, we've run across 24 of them already.
Wow.
And we know that there's a lot more than that from just looking at the detector. We know they're in the town. We know there's a lot of them in the town. The exact number we're not sure because we've done so many resale inspections and we've seen these so many times that it's apparent between the 3 inspectors that are going to do resales that it's very prevalent in the town because they're sold. DePault's, Lowe's, Home Depot, Bose Hardware, all were selling those particular, that brand in the time frame of the discrepancy. I've got some in the station. We've got 2 in the station that we've got to send back.
No. Okay, any other questions?
Motion to accept?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to accept by Commissioner Santoro, seconded by Commissioner Ashenbaum. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The vote to accept is 7-0. And now, Chief, you want to talk about the metal building? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, yep. Solicitor Morris is recusing herself.
Because I represent, this email discusses the project owner, and I did represent the project owner, so.
So the Fair Lumberyard, which a lot of us remember on Jones Street, was sold to the Blackstone Valley Prep for a high school. When we first heard of this project, we approached H.V. Collins to see if we could use the building for large area searches, hose line advancements, cutting the roof for ventilation, and they were amenable to it after just some paperwork transfers. During the groundbreaking, I asked what they were doing with the metal building in the back, and they said that they were going to use it for site storage, and then in April they were going to tear it down, at which point I said, Jesus, I could use that building. They somewhat accelerated the demolition process, and approximately 8 weeks ago, I was contacted that the demolition process was being advanced, that if I was interested in the building, I would have to move more quickly, which I did. The building was 80 feet deep, 120 feet wide. It's constructed by Space Manufacturing, based in Taunton, Mass, and it was an exemplary building because it's a clear span building. The interior, a lot could be done with the interior. I know it's a steel frame building, and there are a lot of options with steel frame buildings since the 1970s for insulation, for facade that can be done. So I advanced the proposal that I would be interested in it. I contacted a few metal building erectors. One company did come down, Anvil Steel from Dedham, Mass. They were ready to proceed with the dismantling process. They anticipated 5 to 7 days, depending on how they could get trailers and cranes set up to dismantle it. So I had told them that I hadn't gotten final approval yet, and the longer this went on, the more hopeful I became, to the point where I was starting to line up the trailer trucks to have the material stored on. And then I received this communication on January 4th detailing why they were refusing us access to the building. There's very little I can do because they own the building, and H.V. Collins somewhat has ownership of the project in concert with Valley Prep. So if they deviate from the original construction plan, it can be an add-on charge as a change work order. And Valley Prep doesn't want to open themselves up to a change work order, which would cost them more money. Collins and Valley Prep are also very concerned about the liability of us being on the property, although what we did to their wooden building was a lot more liable, I believe, than having a company that puts these buildings up all the time come in to take it down. So I'm disappointed that we lost the project, especially seeing that they were going to give us the building at no cost. And that's where we stand with that one.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to the chief?
So it's a done deal for sure, Chief, or is there an option of if we could put a bond or insurance on our part?
I've spoke to the project, not Mr. Rogers, but the actual site manager, Joe Tocho, and he said it's outside of his jurisdiction, it's in legal, and legal is not inclined to allow anybody else on the property that isn't associated with the construction project. The A&A demolition is on the property. They're part of the construction project for the demolition.
And you wanted the building to be used for training?
No, I wanted to use it for a station replacement.
Oh, the police station. Oh, yes. Okay.
Thank you very much for your effort in that one. It really would have been a very nice replacement station, unfortunately.
When you leave here tonight, if you just go across, it's just going to make you sad like me if you go see it.
Right.
Chief, as the truck...
To give you an idea, it's 3 times the size of Station 2.
So when they destroy this building, is it going to be taken apart like an erector set?
I'm waiting to see.
Because as soon as it leaves Jones Street, could we...
If they take it down with a shear, it's not going to be worth trying to reclaim. If they dismantle it, I'll certainly put in another pitch in for it, that's for sure.
If it's not...
Yeah, that's what Anvil Construction was amazed and impressed with is these go up 2 ways. They either go up welded or they go up bolted, and this one went up bolted. So you could basically take it all apart, number the beams as you're taking it apart. When he was in with myself looking at the building, there was no rust on any of the bolts. They would have all unthreaded. Everything would have come apart. You needed about maybe 6 different size wrenches to take it apart.
So my guess would be, I'm not by far an expert, but you know about buildings. They probably unbolt it instead of using torches for most of it, right?
They probably won't torch it. They'll probably come in with a shear. You know, they have the hydraulic shears that go on the excavator. They'll probably just come in and snip it to the lengths and put it on a truck. Yeah. But we're watching to see how they take it out.
Sure, yep, yeah, I'll be there. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion on the table to adjourn by Commissioner Champagne, seconded by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is hereby adjourned, 7-0.